Your addictive voice is any thinking that supports or suggests the possible future use of giving into your addiction. So, as we move forward, replace whenever I say addiction with the thing that you're struggling with, whether it's alcohol, vaping, drugs, sex, pornography, gambling. So, right now, I want you to experiment with the idea of never giving into your addiction again. Take a minute, think about it, think of the pros and the cons. So, chances are you have a mixture of feelings. On one hand, you probably really want to quit, and on the other hand, you want to continue your addiction as much as possible, forever. So, you're ambivalent, and you feel two ways about something. But the truth is, you are not really ambivalent. You know that you want to stop your addiction. It's your addictive voice that doesn't want to stop. It's not that you have mixed feelings. It's that it's your voice against your addictive voice. So the voice that listed the pros of quitting, thinking of all the marvelous gains in self-esteem and well-being and feeling good, that is you. The voice that didn't like the idea of quitting, that got upset about never giving into your addiction, that's your addictive voice. So let's review how the addictive voice works. Your addictive voice is your body talking to you in your thoughts and your feelings. Your addictive voice tells you to give in to your addictions. And your addictive voice is the sole cause of your addiction. It's your addictive voice that's your expression or appetite or desire for the addiction. So there are different, essentially, brains inside of you. There's a large mass on top, and that's the neocortex. And this is the part that supports human consciousness. Underneath it is the end of the spinal cord, the brainstem, and the many structures between the brainstem and the neocortex. We can call it the midbrain. So the midbrain manages vital life processes and automatic behavior like heartbeat, respiration, sensory experiences, emotions, survival drives, whereas the neocortex is the human brain. So there's literally two different brains inside your skull, the animal midbrain and the human neocortex. So while the midbrain is the primitive animal brain, some identify this midbrain as what's called the beast brain. So this beast brain is a healthy brain just like yours. It's not diseased or defective in any way, but it is your addictive voice. So your addiction is a natural function of your healthy body. There's nothing wrong with your brain that compels you to give into your addiction. There's not any neurological or physical condition that justifies the use of your addiction. You are free to completely quit your addiction at any time. But the thought of quitting for a lifetime gives you a cringing, sinking feeling. That morbid feeling is a sensory entity in your consciousness that we call the beast brain. Your brain is not you, but it's a part of your body. You are not your brain. You're the owner of your brain. A human spirit, self, or identity that authorizes all voluntary behavior, including your addiction. Your brain is not interested in you or your personal affairs. No part of your brain is out to get you, and no part of your brain will ever come to your rescue. In this recovery, you're on your own with no support. There's no rescuing deity, and there's no brain to intervene for you. Nothing but your dread of going to the very bad place you fear. Either you'll cling to your precious option to give into your addiction, or you'll remove it from your life altogether. This method, as described over the next few minutes, is the map that shows you the exit from your addiction. It is entirely and solely up to you to take the leap of faith in yourself, into the unknown world of secure, permanent abstinence. You are entirely free to do so because you are capable of operating independently of your bodily desires. You possess free will. You have the ability to choose based on principles of right and wrong. So, the addictive voice originates in the biological animal side of human nature. So we call it the beast. It's like there are two of you at cross purposes and conflict. Your beast is ruthless. It cares for nothing you love. It only wants to give into your addiction. Any reason will do. Good, bad, or indifferent. It will exploit any tragedy, take advantage of any good fortune, or it'll want to give into your addiction for no reason at all. It uses addiction for its own sake, so that it feels good. Your beast hides in the dark. You can't see it any more than you can see your own eyes, but you can feel it. Beasts have very strong feelings. This method puts light on the beast as it hides in the dark, because it can't tolerate for you to see it. It fears being seen for what it is, rogue animal desire. And it knows that you can kill it once you see it. It fears you, and you can feel it fear you. Your beast is a rogue appetite for pleasure. Your beast expresses itself through your thoughts. It uses mental images that you can see, and it uses your same thinking voice that you hear when you read. It speaks with great authority because it's a survival drive. But it can't act on its own. It needs pronouns. It needs you, your precious I. Your beast's favorite word is I. Without that word, it's paralyzed. So when your beast wants to give into your addiction, what you hear is, I want to do it. What we're teaching with this method is that it, not I, wants to give into your addiction. So, do you want to continue your addiction, or is that just your beast? The beast is a master of disguise. It seems to be you, but it's only an appetite for your addiction. And you are not an appetite. What could be more impotent than mere desire, which is the beast? You aren't your beast. You can say, I am not my body. I am not an animal being. I am the owner of my body. I am the master of my body. I'm a human being. So let's do it again. How would you feel if you knew for a fact that you would never give in to your addiction again? That your addiction has completely ended and you're free at last? Take a few seconds. So you probably have those mixed feelings again. A freedom and hope for a better life, but also a sinking feeling thinking about a lifetime of total abstinence. That sinking feeling is your beast, and that sense of liberation and freedom is you. Your beast talks in your thoughts. It's your appetite for the high life, the desire to give into your addiction. And I have a feeling you can hear your beast sowing seeds of doubt that you can decide to never give into your addiction again and stick with it. That doubt is the addictive voice. Your beast speaks with awesome authority, but it's just mere desire. It's utterly powerless. It's a dependent quadriplegic. It's unable to even wiggle your fingers. Your beast organizes your thoughts, emotions, and perceptions to support your addiction forever. It develops plans for continued addiction and predicts a gloomy life without the option to not give in to your addiction. But your beast has only one fear: deprivation of its favorite fix. It fears only the word never. Therefore, that is exactly what you're going to say. So, say it with me. So, it's not necessary, but if you can, repeat what I say out loud, no matter how ridiculous it feels. I will never give in to my addiction again. Say it again. I will never give in to my addiction again. The more that you actually mean it, the stronger you'll feel your beast emotionally recoil. The more pain that your beast feels right now is actually a good sign. So go ahead, say it again and believe in yourself. I will never give in to my addiction again. Feel the joy of victory that is the abstinence commitment. Feel your beast's agony, the sinking, angry feeling. These shift back and forth between your joy and its agony. As you practice this, you'll draw the fact of a full recovery into the present moment. Recovery now may seem premature, impossible, too simple, or too easy. Or it may seem impossible to guarantee anything because the future is unknown. Or you may feel like you have a disease or that you're powerless. If this feels true, remember that your addictive voice is any thinking that supports or suggests the possible future use of your addiction. It wants you to question yourself. This might sound counterintuitive, but welcome your beast into your life as a sign of health and not disease. welcome your addictive voice as a sign that you know right from wrong. In other words, to your beast, anything that feels good as its favorite fix can't be wrong. But to you, nothing can be more wrong than your addiction. Now you have two sets of eyes, the eyes of your beast and your own human eyes. I want you to set your confidence for lifetime abstinence at 100%. Recognize all self-doubt as your addictive voice. This sort of recovery is abrupt. You are free to declare yourself fully recovered right now. Your beast is probably trying hard to preserve the option to give into your addiction at some unforeseen time later on. Now, in the future, your beast will take control of the moment. This method allows you to rebel against your beast and defeat it in that explosive moment. You own the moment for good once you've understood these teachings. Come back to this from time to time to review them. So, although the teachings are very, very simple, learning it can be tricky at first. This is because your addictive voice uses your own intelligence against you. It uses your personality, your language, and your thinking voice in order to remain concealed from you. It is ruthless in its pursuit of addiction, but it can also be quite subtle. It can be forceful, seductive, persistent, impatient. It has a lot of different qualities. But one of the key insights here is that talk of having a bad brain or disease or other scientific ideas is irrelevant to recovery. Scientific knowledge of health and medicine, anatomy, brain structures, genetics, family history of dysfunction, and mental health issues are not relevant to recovering from your addiction today. That you're here instead of already recovered is evidence of that in itself. So it may be interesting to explore brain structures and functions and their physiological activities in connection with your addiction, or you may be intrigued with the complexities of your own psyche and your mind by delving into these matters, but it will produce no useful information or insights that will guide you to a prompt and full recovery. In fact, sometimes dwelling on these distracting topics and discussions can be examples of your addictive voice. Remember, your addictive voice is anything that supports or suggests the possible future use of your addiction. And if your thinking that you have a diseased brain means that you give into it, remember, that's your addictive voice. It's your beast and not you that wants to believe in anything that excuses your addiction. This method teaches you that sometimes the thought of the fact that you're an addict or that you're depressed or anxious can be used as a way to excuse your continued addiction. Sometimes the tenets of science, religion, medicine, and psychology protect that option of gratifying relapses. They can divert your attention from the immediate actions that you must take in order to protect yourself from intolerable future pain. The reason for this is because these disciplines and bodies of knowledge can be easily hijacked by the addictive voice. Of course, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with any of these things. It's just that when it comes to your addiction, it might be diverting you from your immediate directive action and leave open the option of use. For some, the idea of having a disease will become a part of the addictive voice, rather than someone who is responsible for becoming addicted and staying addicted, and for immediately quitting your addiction right now for good. After you recovered, you may still be interested in why you became addicted and remained addicted for so long, in spite of being aware of the enormous harm the addiction caused. That's okay, but for now, focus on your addiction and the painful consequences. Focus on the obvious. If you're doing something harmful to yourself, wouldn't it be good to stop it? If you have trouble with moderation, why continue it? Wouldn't it be wise to quit altogether right now? Humans dominate beasts within and without. You are human, intelligent, versatile. You have an enormous advantage over your beast. Ultimately, you control language. You make the rules in your head. You know right from wrong. Your beast doesn't. And best of all, only you can control your muscles. Your beast knows only one answer to any question, one solution to any problem, one action for every occasion, and that's your addiction. But your beast is a quadriplegic. Now, your beast can pretend to be anything that you can be in order to get what it wants. It can be intelligent, friendly, educated, funny, compassionate, clever, secretive, persistent, patient, ruthless, even loving. But the beast is a dumb thing. It's a party animal. And regardless of its disguise or how pleasant it feels, It only wants to give into your addiction. It's your deadly enemy, and you should treat it as such. So, right now, think of never giving into your addiction again. Now, think of giving into your addiction right now. Shift back and forth between quitting right now for good and giving into your addiction full blast. So, notice what's happening to you as you shift back and forth. You're teasing your beast with a delightful relapse and then torturing it with lifetime abstinence. So, beasts have feelings just like you do. When you think about giving into your addiction, you may feel anxious. You know of the likely ugly consequences, but at the same time, it feels pleasantly aroused. But only you can remember the bad times. The beast remembers only the good times. It never learns. It will be jealous of people who can do the thing that you're addicted to without problems. And it will resent people who interfere with its supply. It will feel joyous when you think about using your addiction, and it's horrified at the idea of never giving into your addiction again. It's very frightened of you. It wants to survive. It knows what you're capable of doing. It likes the idea that you're a diseased individual and that you're prone to having a relapse. It likes to have a place to see other beasts that are giving into its addiction. It feels safe when the ideas of right and wrong are replaced by the idea that you have a disease. It happily accepts that relapse is a normal part of recovery. It wants you to think that your addiction is a mystery, a disease, a symptom of maladjustment, a spiritual deficiency, or anything but what it is: ultimate self-indulgence. How does your beast feel about quitting once and for all? Feel how your beast cringes. So, would you like to end your addiction for good? How would you like to get on with your life as a normal person who simply never uses their addiction? Hopeful. In this method, we suggest using a big plan, a decision to totally abstain from your addiction forever. A big plan is very simple, but not all that easy. For example, ask yourself, can I really make the decision right now that I'll never use my addiction again? Never? Now listen to the answer you hear in your head, the one that says, never say never. You can't tell what you'll do down the line. But once again, notice that uneasy feeling. If you're practicing this method, then that voice and feeling is not you. It is your body talking to you through your addictive voice. It's your beast doing its job. It intends to survive, even if you don't. It's a worthy opponent. But remember, humans prevail over beasts. I'll say that again. Humans prevail over beasts. So, do you want to make a big plan? Are you ready to make a big plan? Listen to all that commotion in your head. If I could make this decision, I wouldn't have the problem in the first place. I could say never, but I would just be lying to myself. And if I say never and then give in to my addiction, I'll feel like a failure. So I would just be setting myself up for a big fail if I say never again. And who's to say that I have to abstain? Lots of psychologists say that abstinence is unrealistic. And there are a bunch of scientific studies that show that there are a lot of people with addictions who learn how to do it moderately. Maybe I'll just mature out of it. And even if I quit for good, how do I know if my life would be much better? I could see maybe 6 months, and if I was doing okay, it would be obvious and I could remain abstinent. And I could just decide better then. So I might eventually have to give it up altogether. But right now I'm under a lot of pressure from all sorts of things. It wouldn't be good for me to undertake something as significant as a big plan without giving it a lot of thought. And I could pick a time when things are going a lot more steady when they are right now. The truth is I can go on like this for a while. I mean, nothing terrible has really happened. I can live with myself. Even if others can't, I'm still careful not to really overdo it, If I just do it a little bit more responsibly, then I can still have it when I really enjoy it without it causing big problems. I know if certain things happen or if I feel a certain way, then I'll definitely give into it, but there's no use about being perfectionistic about it. I could always, just cut back using some of the tools to control it. Maybe this technique is better for people with problems that are more serious. Or, maybe it's for people with problems less serious than me. I have a disease. It's unrealistic to think I won't relapse. This big plan thing, it's too abrupt. There isn't any proof that it works. It hasn't been around very long, and I haven't heard experts talking about it. Or maybe the big plan is a good idea, but it just doesn't come naturally to me. And there's no point in doing something unnatural because you can't live up to it. Blah, blah, blah. All of these are the mark of the beast. So let's review the definition of addictive voice. Addictive voice is any thinking or feeling that supports the possibility of any future use of your addiction. There's only one possible time to make a big plan, and that's the present moment. We know that the beast, which resides in the midbrain, has no perception of time. It lives as a speck suspended in eternity, with no memory except the memory of pleasure and with no comprehension of the future. It functions in the endless now to protect its supply of survival stuff. Your beast's only fear is a deprivation of what it thinks it needs to survive. Its job is to block you from depriving it of the addiction, and it's been succeeding. If you wait until tomorrow, it'll still be now for the beast, and the decision will be no more easy than it is right now. To your beast, time is just a commodity to wear you down, to tire you out, to look for perfect opportunities and to shorten the days so that it won't suffer deprivation. But know that now you are armed for the kill. Kill in a manner of speaking. Your beast is a part of you, an intimate part, and it's been with you a long time. It's been with you during some of the best moments of your life and some of the worst. It's been there to celebrate the good times, to relieve the humdrum times, to calm you, to soothe you, to enrich the simple pleasures of life. At first you thought it brought out the best in you, or so it seemed. It's been a companion for the lonely times, a doctor who knows what's best for you, a pal who cares about you, and it always has the perfect solution for any problems you could ever have. How could you turn on an old friend and betray it when it's been so faithful to you? How could you kill such an innocent thing that only means to help you? Killing is too extreme, says the beast. Maybe sometime later. But take a look at what it's done to you so far. Think of what it can still do to you. How far will you let it go? If you listen carefully, your beast will reveal its innermost secret. How to kill it. Never say never, says the beast. So, are you ready to make a big plan? It's entirely up to you, but the only time you can do it is right now. Why now? Because it's always now. If you make a decision to quit tomorrow, it will still be now. And then your beast is just going to say, why not tomorrow? You'll be more ready tomorrow. So I want you to think it over. You don't have to immediately respond, but if you're ready, go ahead and keep listening. This is not an experiment. Here is how to make a big plan. Half-hearted plans to quit for good won't work. It's all or nothing. It's like jumping off the high dive, and there's no turning back now. So repeat these sentences after me. I will never give in to my addiction again. I am in control of my muscles. I call the shots. I'm just going to say that again. I will never give in to my addiction again. I am in control of my muscles. I call the shots. Never means eternity, forever, until the last star in the universe fades. Say it one more time. I will never give in to my addiction again. This is based on my past experience. Feel the discomfort. That's your beast. It's frightened of you, and it's horrified at what you're planning right now. Think about why you're quitting for good. No more problems caused by your addiction ever again. A better life, better health, more money, better relationships. Whatever it is that you hope for, feel the hope. This is an illusion or a false hope. These feelings are you. Trust these feelings of hope. Now say the sentence slowly to yourself with as much meaning as you can. I will never give in to my addiction again. So trust that you're always going to be able to recognize an inner longing to give into your addiction as your deadly enemy, and be willing to let this old friend suffer and die. So let's do something. Take a look at your hands. Your hands are necessary to give into your addiction. Understand that they're under your complete control at all times. Your beast has no power over you. Your beast is a quadriplegic. It has to appeal to you in order to convince you to give into your addiction. So right now, wiggle your index finger. Now, challenge your beast to do the same. It can't do it. you can put your hands down. Now, ask yourself, how bad, depressed, anxious, bored, angry are you willing to get and still not give in to your addiction? That's how bad right now you're willing to feel and not give in to it. It's been your beast the whole time that's been fighting that. So think back of the echo when you stated your big plan. You almost certainly heard some serious commotion in your head. Maybe angry commotion or sadness or fear or cynicism, like, oh sure, likely story, what a lot of crap this method is. That's your beast in action, defending itself against the worst thing possible. You are threatening it in effect with death. Fortunately, it's not you. You will survive, but it is certainly upset. Too bad. Now, complete your big plan by saying it again with meaning, only this time add, and I will never change my mind. So say it. I'll never give in to my addiction. And I will never change my mind. Your beast will get the message. Humans naturally dominate beasts. So, congratulations on your big plan. From here on out, your task is simple. All you do is recognize any thinking or feeling that even remotely suggests that you'll give in to your addiction again and label it as the beast. The point of this method is recognition, not removal and not reasoning against it. Just recognize those feelings and thinking as the addictive voice and they'll fall silent. Only when you engage in dialogue with the addictive voice will you have the white knuckles. You owe your beast no answers, no explanations, no nothing. You should welcome your addictive voice as a sign of health and not disease. So when you hear that voice, label it. And if you recognize that you continue to have to fight against it, take yourself out of the situation. Go for a run, do some deep breathing, do something that changes your environment. So your beast is a pleasure-driven survival drive, but it's been turned upside down by an addiction that produces synthetic pleasure greater than other survival drives. So the desire to feel good doesn't make you a sick person. The beast doesn't give up easily. It's a strong opponent, but it's utterly powerless. So when you feel a struggle within you, it's only your old enemy having a hard time with its new master, and that's you. Your beast will actively taper off, and with a matter of weeks or months, the abstinence will be effortless. From time to time, your addictive voice will spike, and you'll feel flooded with a desire to give into your addiction, and plans to give into your addiction will pop into your head uninvited. You have nothing to fear because you are now objectively recognizing a desire that once seemed to be your own. What can be more impotent than mere desire? Recovery with this method is as difficult as you believe it will be, and will take exactly as long to complete as you choose to make it. You're recovered at the moment you say you are. Just remember, your experience of I is split. You're not your body, but the owner of your body. You have a dual nature, both human and animal. In the past, your bodily desire for the high life had overtaken your human rational identity. It's not you that wants to give into your addiction, because you're not a physical being, but a being that exists only in human consciousness. If you feel deprived of your favorite fix, you are not being deprived of anything. Your beast is. Too bad for it. Rub it in and gloat at it. Show some attitude towards your beast. So make farewell to this addiction clear and forthright and final. There's a lot at stake in addiction recovery. Your happiness and your health are at stake. And even though this method of recovery is simple, elegant, and quite easy, the beast of addiction is a worthy opponent, and the addictive voice can be quite elusive. After all, the beast is a survival drive. It has no intentions of rolling over for you. The addictive voice can speak with a godlike authority, and often it seems to be you. But you need to protect yourself against continued addiction. Come back to this if you need to. Consolidate your gains here and make them the core of your character. Now, it's important, if you consume your addiction even one more time, even if it's the smallest amount of your beast's favorite fix, one little puff or one little sip or one little wager, you will have broken your word of honor to yourself. You can never give in even the smallest amount. Then your beast will smell blood and strike hard with the idea that you're powerless to your addiction, that you're in denial, and so on. If that happens, you need to strike back even harder. Take time and reaffirm your big plan and learn from the serious mistake. Your beast is hearing this as its rehearsal for your next relapse. As you can see, it's a worthy opponent. But from here on out, every time you give into your addiction, even if it's the smallest amount, it's a violation of your once-in-a-lifetime big plan.